Hey guys, this is Brian Grasso, founder and CEO of the IYCA, and I just came back from a workout, and so I'm a little flushed or sweaty right now. I apologize for that. But last week I got a ton of compliments on this blue sweater, no joke. Emails and some phone calls, because usually I'm dressed up in my IYCA best. But I decided to wear my brand new blue hoodie last week, and I got an influx of phone calls and emails from you. People saying that they loved it, so I decided to don it again. Anyways, that's got nothing to do with today's video blog, but I just want to mention that. So on the blog last week and the week before, I talked at length about this 40%, 60% rule, talking about making sure that kids don't specialize early. To me, it's such a redundant argument. I mean, the science all favors everything that the IYCA stands for. Dr. Toby Brooks has placed articles where he's referenced scientific studies, even recent ones, on the IYCA blog and at IYCAmembers.com. So IYCA members worldwide have been privy to those articles, as have you, just here on the blog. Just research and go through the archives of last week. But to me, it's such a redundant argument. It's almost to the point where I don't understand what people don't understand. So, I do appreciate that in the youth sports world, and trust me, a 15-year veteran, I've been there myself. Parents often are the ones who talk about this 10-year rule or this 10,000-hour rule that in order to become world-class at anything, it requires 10 years of dedicated, concentrated work. And therefore, early specialization is something they see as a premium and a necessity. Now, I've addressed this a million times in IYCA educational material, which is for purchase, but on the IYCA blog, which is 100% free. I would ask you, as a youth fitness specialist who cares for kids, to ask the parents who are pressuring you to specialize early in sport and only engage in training, adjunct training programs that are very sport-based or sport-specific based. Simply ask them this. Just because Johnny has a propensity to mathematics, Johnny likes mathematics, he excels in mathematics, would you remove every other academic subject from Johnny's daily plate when he's 8 years old? The answer is resoundingly no. No one would do that. We appreciate in our society that academics is a progressive system. That in order to master advanced calculus or advanced finite mathematics, you simply must learn the basics. To round that out, if you remove languages, you remove art, history, geography, and yes, physical education, you are removing incredibly important pieces to the puzzle. The brain is not a unilaterally functioning mechanism. It is a machine of cohesion. Everything works synaptically with other things. Yes, there's a left brain, and yes, there's a right brain. And both of those hemispheres control very different and sensitive portions of how we interpret, how we see the world, how we judge it, how we react to what we see and feel. But they're not interdependent. And actually, I don't know if that's right. They are interdependent. They need to be in place together. A lot of the work I've done in the past is with kids who have sensory integration issues, Asperger's, some ADD, or clinically defined as ADD. One of the things that became very apparent to me, and I did the research on this and spoke to physicians, all to find out that the complexity was true, is that kids, for example, who have Asperger's, they are incredibly skilled and knowledgeable at certain things, facts, figures. They can recite them forever. They don't always have context on what they're saying, but they're accurate in what they're saying, but there's no context to it. Additionally, they will talk for 20 minutes about one specific fact or topic with all the different facts coming at them. Now, in an adult situation who has Asperger's disease, if they were to do that, and this is reality. You've seen it, I'm sure, in movies, on TV, or even in your own personal lives. If someone with, Asperger's, for example, just talks to you for 20 minutes, no joke, 20 minutes, regurgitating facts, non-stop about this, it's uncomfortable. Your face begins to lose interest. You try to display body language that isn't engaging so as to disengage the conversation, even to the point of being blunt and rude, where you might just start to walk away in the hopes they'll stop talking. That's factual of our society, but the reason that's true, the reason that interplay happens is because the right brain the right brain hemisphere of people in that situation with Asperger's cannot define what they're feeling from you. They cannot have any, they have no ability to have context over your facial expressions, your body language. They're not processing that the way you or I might. I don't really think that's a handicap, to be honest, although we generally term it as a handicap. I think it's just an amazing acceleration of left brain activity. A lot of this, by the way, I found in a great book called A Whole New Mind. It talks about the delineation of right brain and left brain activity and how certain centers control different things, but the interdependence of both of them is necessary for full functioning cognitively and physically. That's the point. You may or may not be able to visually see or comprehend why study in English and history matters down the line with respect to mathematics. But they are controlled by very different parts of the brain, and that interdependence and synaptic connection is required for eventual mastery of a particular topic, area, or subject matter. That's why school is set up the way it is. Grades 1 through 6 or thereabouts, elementary school is a broad conceptual look at everything. Grades 7 through 8 and then into high school is application of knowledge, and then additionally advanced knowledge. You don't specialize at all in any subject matter academically until postgraduate, not even university. You can declare a major, but 50 to 60% of your course load in a given week is still going to be general knowledge. So academically, we don't ever require kids, or anybody for that matter, to start the execution process of becoming a specialist until a master's degree. Think about that. So I'm having trouble understanding what the difficulty is in that, and if your difficulty is working with parents who refuse to understand it, put it in that context. Show them the academic side. Have them understand the contextual aspects of everything I just discussed. Read A Whole New Mind so you understand the complexity of left and right brain, how the interdependence happens, okay? That's one long diatribe, and I'm sure I'm off on a tangent that may or may not be useful for you. I hope it was. But I have little notes here. I don't know if you can see them, but they're mostly for my edification anyways. Sports in general are grouped into 3 categories. And I want you to consider this because we can't just look at sports as sports. Sports have different categories and classifications for different reasons. And by the way, this is all part of the IYCA experiential learning experience. It really is. Youth Fitness Specialist Level 1 into Youth Fitness Specialist Level 2. We've made this all very clear, and we've offered it as a free thing as well in our blogs. So right now I'm kind of rehashing stuff that you should already know, but I'm hoping this helps understand and bridge the gap. Sports that are considered Group 1 are judged sports. There's no impediment to technique, meaning there's no opponents. So there's nothing in the way. It's really just a matter of showcasing your technical skill. What sports fit into that category? Figure skating, gymnastics, diving. Those are very non-impediment technique based. There's no opponents there. You're being judged. And you're just showcasing your technical skill, and the merits of that technical skill are being judged. So more often than not, sports in that category tend to have lower aged specializations. Gymnasts tend to be very young. Divers tend to be very young. So that's the reality we're dealing with. But make no mistake about the fact, and again, this is not just research, this is my own experience of working with Olympic and professional and national team athletes of a variety of sports for years and years and years and years and years. I watched my Olympic athletes, even Group 1 athletes who were coached well by qualified coaches who understood. They would warm up playing soccer. They would do implement-based things. They would juggle, they would throw balls, they would do all kinds of different things as technical warm-ups, and that would encompass about 30% of the training day for them. So please don't tell me that, oh, it's not that way, Brian. It is that way. It is most assuredly that way. Group 1 sports are younger specialization periods, fine. But we're still looking at other ways to infuse global skill that is not specialized whatsoever. Okay, that's why, again, express this to the parents who you're working with and their young athletes. Group 2 sports, okay? Maximal impartially measured results. It's an objective measurement, but again, there's no impediment to skill or showcase of skill. So maximal impartially measured results with objective measurements, track and field, swimming. How far did I throw that discus? How fast did I run in contrast to everybody else? How quickly did I get from one part of the pool to the other part? Objectively measured, maximal impartially measured results. That's it. Who was faster? Who threw it farther? Who was stronger? Olympic weightlifting. Those sports fit into group 2. Now, where's the age of sensitivity there? It doesn't exist. Tell me Dana Torres at 40 some odd years old who won Olympic medals recently, that she had to have specialized at 14 and was at some point over the hill. It just doesn't work the way we think we want it to work. The complexity of sport and sport performance really hasn't changed that much. The IYCA is centered in North America. A lot of this literature is decades old, from Europe, Australia, New Zealand, etc., where they've long done things differently than us in a non-specialized format. Now, that's not always the case. Do not get me wrong. I've traveled the world and I've seen sports specialization infused in those cultures, more recently than decades ago. But we have to get things back on track. Group 3 sports, the skill of these sports is in overcoming opponents specifically. These are team sports. The technique combines with tactical sense. So that's the essence of team sport. You name it, baseball, basketball, hockey, football, it doesn't matter. The technique has to combine with tactics, and the demonstration of skill really is for the purpose of overcoming an opponent. Different paradigm altogether. I don't believe there's much in the way of an early specialization necessity there. It's a fog that we're living in to believe that's true. And don't, I can give you case examples coming from my zoo. I am not a researcher, folks. I happen to love research. I happen to read it vigorously to understand coaching the science of training better than I do. But I'm a practitioner. I'm in the field 15 plus years now. Highest ends, Olympic gold medalists, national team athletes, all over the world. Little itty-bitty kids, high school athletes who are some of the best in the country going on to Division I scholarships, college athletes who are either mediocre, useful in their college sports, and those who are definitely bound for superstardom. I've worked with them all. And more than anything else, I have shut up and I've listened over the last 15 years to coaches and research who know better than me. That's where the IYCA stance comes from. It's a practical experience of what I've seen, Dr. Toby Brooks, Dr. Kwame Brown, what we've all seen, what we know to be true, what we've applied and failed at, made better, reapplied, and found success. So again, I have talked a lot today, but I hope it gives you a lot of food for thought going into your weekend. Obviously and forever, leave me comments, questions, whatever it might be. I always try to get here every day to answer your questions whenever possible. But consider this stuff. Don't just jump to an emotional conclusion or reaction and then just hit it on the blog. Think about it over the weekend. It's Friday today. Think about it. And, let's have a good discussion on this. Because I'm interested in what everyone has to think and what you feel about the subject matter at large and how the IYC can help. Like I used the academic example, telling parents, understanding that the academic system, use that as your linchpin to explain the necessity of progressions in sport and why specialization early is not a feasible way to build anything, academically or athletically. So that's what our role is, to help. Whether you're a certified IYCA member, part of IYCAmembers.com, or not at all. You're simply you're a wonderful professional who works with kids and cares for them, have no interest in the IYCA certification, but you want to get better at what you do. We're here for everybody. So consider this stuff over the weekend, always and forever. Put your thoughts on the blog. I can't wait to read everything, and I definitely try every day to get back to you. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, but I'll be much more vigilant, hopefully, in the next little while, getting back to this blog and answering questions and pros and that sort of thing, okay? Thanks for watching. It's been a long video with a whole lot of things going on. Hope you dug the blue sweater. Have a great weekend. This is Brian Grasser, founder and CEO of the IYCA.